for allowing me to share a little bit of my thoughts regarding prayer. And I am supposed to talk about prayer works in enriching our lives. So, I'm going to start to talk about me because this story is about me, Mirtha. From day one, as I was growing up, my father always had us pray before we went to school, at dinner time, and before going to bed. And he said, prayer is everything. Love is everything. And of course, my dad's type of prayers and the prayers that I used to do were regular prayers from the Assembly of God Church, where we, are asking for what we need. And at that time, of course, for me, that was great because that's all that I knew. So I grew up in Riverdale. My father was a farm labor worker, and I did some work myself out in the grapes, pistachios, almonds, tying the vines, chopping cotton, helping my dad in the dairy with the calves, etc., etc. Sometimes I didn't even go to school because I had to help out with the family and bringing food to the table. And it was hard work. As a 10-year-old, I started when I was 10 years old doing that. But if I wouldn't have done that, I wouldn't be who I am now. I feel that helped me tremendously, and I thank my father for that very much. And prayer changed our lives in many ways throughout all the years that we were living together, all as a family. I have a sister that is 11 years younger than me. There's only two of us in the family. And God was always working in our favor. It is always working in our favor, and sometimes we don't even know it. When I turned 13 years old, God helped me in a way that I didn't even recognize at the time. But my grandmother lived with us, and she was reading a Hispanic magazine, and it said about this young man that wanted to exchange postcards with somebody from the United States. He lived in Argentina. Well, that was my future husband. I was 13 years old and he was 15 when we started writing to each other. God blessed me with all of this, with this wonderful man. And of course, there's little between husband and wife, but at the end, there's always love. And years went by, we wrote to each other, and finally in 1980, I turned 22 years old, and I told my mom and dad, I'm going to go visit this guy because I want to know if I'm going to marry him or not. I got other guys that want to date me, And my mom said, no, you can't go. You can't go over there by yourself. And my dad said, let her go. She's 22. She can do whatever she wants as long as she takes care of herself. So there I go. I was able to save up from my job about $1,000 and for the airfare, and my grandmother gave me $500 spending cash. So my ticket was $1,200, and I had $300 left over. So there I go. And I spent 2 weeks there. I was on vacation for 2 weeks, and I loved it. So we discussed it while we were there, and yes, we were going to get married. And as soon as I got off the airplane, the next day I went to the immigration office, and I said, you got to bring this guy over here because I'm going to marry him. So they gave me paperwork to fill out, and I did that, and that was in May of 1980. He was here by September of 1980, and we got married in October of 1980. It all happened like that. And to this day, this year, we will be married 36 years. So apart from having my wonderful 2 girls, my husband is probably the best thing that has ever happened in my life. I just thank God every day for that. Where would I be without him? I don't know. Maybe, in a great place as well. But for right now, that is all that I know, and that's all I wanted, because this is perfect for me. So God help me without even knowing. He's working in my favor to this day. Another scenario that I want to show you about myself is I was working in this office years ago, and I was making $1,800 a month. And I was there for almost 8 years. And I never got along with the lady, I was one of the accountants there, with the lady that was our boss, our supervisor. So I told my husband, honey, I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to quit this job because this lady is just over the top with me. I don't get along with her, she doesn't get along with me. And he said, well, you gotta find another job first before you do that, because we've got kids and you've gotta pay the bills and da-da-da-da. So I said, whatever. So one day, it just was too much for me. This was before I was in religious science. I quit, and I went home and I told my husband, he said, oh my God, okay, we gotta pray now. So we prayed. And by golly, God was working in my favor as well. I thought a door had closed because I quit there and I had to go on unemployment, I thought, and stuff like that. Well, I get a call the next day from a title company saying, Mirtha, we know you left so-and-so. We want you to come work for us. And I said, okay, I'll get my resume ready and I'll dress up. And I had talked to this lady a couple of times because of the business that I was in. She said, you don't need to apply for anything. You're already hired, honey. I said, okay. So I show up Monday. That was on a Thursday. So they said, come on Monday. I said, okay. So there I go. I dressed up and everything. And they showed me my little corner, my little cubicle, and what I was going to be doing. I had no idea how to do this job because I had never done title work before. But they said, we'll train you. Another thing God was helping me with. So at the end of the day, the boss calls me and says, I have your contract, to see if how did you like your job today? How did you like it? Do you like it? You don't like it? Tell me, because this is your contract. I want you to read it over, take it home tonight, go over it with your husband and see if you like it. And I said, okay, I'll do that. So, I take my little letter and I walk off. I go home and I told my husband, I said, this is the contract and we're going to open it together. And at that time, remember, I was making $1,800 a month for almost 8 years. Only like $100 raise at the time. So we cooked dinner and everything. Then we opened the letter. The kids were in bed. We opened the letter. And they said, we want to offer, so-and-so title company wants to offer Mirtha Koder a job for $4,700 a month. Now that is God working in my favor. Another God working in my favor scenario. God is working in my favor 24/7. But this is just one of the biggies. Where I was able to pay off all my bills. I was able to pay off all my dad's bills because my mother had just passed away like 18 months before, and my dad was left with a lot of debt. So I paid his off, I paid ours off. We were debt-free, for God's sakes. Thanks to Jesus Christ. I'm telling you, thanks to God.